Hey everyone. Good evening. How are you all doing? How has your week been? I trust that you've been doing well. So I'd like to welcome you to today's class. We'll be starting a new software, which is Adobe InDesign. So I appreciate all of you for joining in for uh, all those sessions. You guys are amazing. So today, uh, before I welcome Rachel to start our session, we haven't sent the previous recordings, especially on Illustrator. So I'd urge us to be a little bit patient. They'll be sent by next week, hopefully, and we'll also give you some bit of time to complete the assignment. So I hope that is clear. If you have any question about that, um, yeah, feel free to reach out. In the meantime, you can be, trying some YouTube videos because you have a strong foundation on these softwares. They won't be as intimidating or new, so you can go out and explore um, other tools and designs. So Rachel, I'd like to welcome you to today's class. You can take over.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to our graphic designing sessions. So today's class is an introduction to InDesign. Adobe InDesign, it is a very good software for for graphic designers. It's a bit different from Photoshop and Illustrator in some many ways because first of all, in InDesign, let me begin with what is not done in InDesign, and then I can go to what is actually done in InDesign. So in InDesign, you cannot create posters. In InDesign, you cannot remove backgrounds. In InDesign, you cannot create logos. You cannot create shapes that you call them logos. In InDesign, you cannot create patterns the way you can create in InDesign. In short, in InDesign, you cannot create vector images, only pixel images. It is possible to create patterns and other shapes in InDesign, but they are not worthy to be called logos or anything that you can create in Illustrator or Photoshop. So if InDesign does not do that, if InDesign does not create a poster, then what does it do? InDesign is a software that allows you to create books. It allows you to edit books and do layout designing. In design, we are going to learn about layout design. So what per se is layout design? A layout design, it's the arrangement of a book or an arrangement of a document. That is the layout design in short words, okay, in layman's language. So one of the things as a designer I have come across understanding InDesign as a software is much easier than understanding Photoshop and Illustrator as a software. This is the easiest one, that's why I put it at the end. I made sure to put Photoshop and Illustrator in the beginning so that at least you can test a little bit of the hard parts. And then once you have built your endurance, I apologize for the background noise. Once you have built your endurance, you can now come to the easy part. It's like the way we used to be told in mathematics. No, it's not like the way we used to be told in mathematics. In mathematics, we used to be told start with the easy questions and then go to the most difficult ones. So I'm using the different ones because um it still works. I believe Photoshop and Illustrator, it's kind of built your endurance and it's built how difficult a project can become. InDesign is the easier one. So this is as you can see my screen, this is the interface of InDesign. It's basically the same when you compare to Illustrator and Photoshop. Up here we have the menu bar with files, edits, layouts, and everything else. We have the option to create a new file, to open recent files, and this is home. So this place is called a bridge. I forgot to tell you this. This place is called a bridge, and it's where your recent designs they can show. For example, this one. And these are some presets of a design you can make. Per se, a preset is a template. Okay, it's a template dimension of what you can make. There are many different dimensions like 1080 by 1080 pixels. You have 1900 by maybe 1200 pixels. All of those, they're different preset dimensions that you can use. So in InDesign, we work with inches more than with pixels. It is okay to use pixels. It is okay to use parts. It's okay to use pickers, but it's more advisable to use inches because now we are working with books and minimal. Now, before I even proceed, I know that I'm just saying books and documents, but in graphic design, we have different types of books and documents. We have the usual printable books. We have brochures, we have infographics, we have letterheads, we have pamphlets. All those are different types of documents that are created using InDesign and they are important. We have even brand guideline. I remember in the last lesson, one of us they were asking what's a brand guideline. So a brand guideline is a form of a document that shows the guidelines of a brand. It shows you what's to do and what's not to do with the elements of a brand, what's to do with the logo and what's not to do with the logo, the types of colors to use, the types of fonts to use, and all of this we are going to look at them. And so let us create a new project. So for today's project, I'm going to teach you how to edit, how to create a layout design in InDesign, a very basic layout design for creating a book, a printable book. So you go to the new file. I want you to open your InDesign. Go to new file. So you will not select any of these presets. I want us to make one of our own. You can title it a project book 1. Now you notice that the way that the heights they're in pickers. Okay, so you're going to change the units to inches. Now there are different types of books before I proceed. If you're creating a book, always make sure that you ask ChatGPT or ask Google or any accounts that you're using to tell you the dimensions of a book. For instance, many printed books, okay, many written printed books, they usually come with a certain dimension. They're usually A5. Okay, they're usually A5. But many notebooks, they're usually A4, especially exercise books. All those notebooks, by the way, they're created in InDesign. Another book is maybe a menu, a hotel menu, or a restaurant menu, or a spa menu. All those menus, they're created in InDesign and they come with different dimensions. It depends. You'll find that many high-end restaurants they use the A4 dimension menu, and then smaller companies they usually use the A5, or they can use a very tall and very thin menu. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're usually very different. So always make sure if a client comes to you, always make sure you know what kind of book they want, what kind of letter they want, and then you can search this kind of letter. What dimension do I use? Another has sent me a manuscript of a biography, and they want it to be published as a book. As a layout designer, what dimension will I use? Especially if that book is going to be printed EPUB. You know EPUB. EPUB is when you publish a book in the internet, and then yeah, in the internet, and then it can be opened using EPUB. So some of them, most of them actually, they usually use a 5 dimension. Even actually, when you're creating books to be sold in Kindle, most Kindle books, they usually A5. Amazon Kindle books, they usually A5. Many other places which uses sells books, they usually use the A5 dimension. It's the most common one. So that's very, I want to emphasize on that. Always make sure you know the dimension of the books that you're creating because they're different. They are very different. Higher. Even pamphlets, they're different. All of those, you're going to see the differences. So after you have named your book project book one, we want to, for this particular project, I want us to make an author's manuscript of a biography. Okay, assume it's a biography we're making. So we are going to use inches, as I have said. And the inches of an A5 book, it is 7 inches, 11 inches. Let us confirm that. Can we confirm that? It's either 7 or 6. Let us confirm that. So you're going to go to from oh, I've stopped sharing. Yeah. And then it says 148 times 210 in inches. This is 5 times 8. Let me specify in inches. So it's giving me 5.83 by 8.27. Let me ask for a definite one because I don't want to struggle with a float number. Okay, it says 5 inches and height 8. We're going to use 6 and 9. Let us use 6 and 9. 6 and 9 inches. So that's an A5 book. I'll put the inches into 6 inches and 9 inches. The second thing you're going to see is pages. So the pages is the amount of pages you want to use. A page, I noticed that many people struggle to know what pages are. There is a difference between a page and a paper. Okay, so a page, it is that one. Let me just open a photo so that I can show you page. Yes, so this is a page. Okay, this alone, this is a page. People usually mistake this page for a whole paper. You see this and the other page which is behind this, all together, that's a paper. But this alone here, it's a page. This is another page and this is another page. So that's what a page is. Don't confuse that. So we are going to say that our book will have 4 pages. Now you can notice in InDesign, the pages, they can be added after you have gotten inside your design or your canvas. They can be added, but right now let us work with pages. So the start page is page 1. That's okay. Right here we have orientation. I want it to look like this. And then we have the facing pages. Now a facing page, it is pages which face each other. It's basically the way you open a book. Okay, the way you open a book, zimeshikana, si zimeshikana hapo katikati. Zimeshikana hapo katikati, and then those 2 pages, it's like they're facing each other. They're called facing pages. So we're going to say yes for this one because we're printing a book. And then a primary text frame. So in InDesign, a primary text frame, it is the frame where your text will go. It is a frame which ensures your text does not go outside of the page itself. Where the frame equal, it's a border for your words. It's a border for your documentation. hapo ndani ndio words zinafaa kwenda. So we're going to say yes, let it come with a primary text frame, a column. So we're going to remove the columns, but I want to show you what a column is. So a column is, the way you can have 2 columns per page. Example, the way the Bible is written. It has many Bibles, they have 2 columns. So let me just put 2 columns, but we're going to change that once we're inside. And then you have a column gutter. So a gutter is a space between 2 columns. You don't want those columns zishikane. You have to have a space in between. So that's what is called a column gutter. And we have placed it to be 0.25 inches higher. A margin. The next place you're going to find is the margin. So in a document, again, aside from the primary text frame, a margin, it is the unused space at the border of a page. Kwa page, ukifungua kitabu, you don't find words everywhere, literally everywhere. There's usually an empty space at the top, at the bottom, at the side, and at the other side with no words at all. That space is called a margin. So we're going to put a margin here of, let us say 0.725. 0.725. Put a margin of 0.725. Let me go back to bridge. No. Not yet done. Yeah. So you're going to create a margin of 0.725. Let me just repeat that. Yeah. Once you have put the margin to be 0.725, make sure all of them they are 0.725. Higher. After 0.725, we have the bleed and the slug. So I want you to listen carefully here because these two, they're kind of confusing to people who do not understand InDesign at the first place. So what's a bleed and what's a slug? A bleed, it is a space between facing pages of a combined book. Now let me show you what I mean. Anytime you open a book, you have, before you open a book, you have three faces. Let me show you what I mean. There are 3 parts of a book. Outside, there are 3 parts of a book in the outside. Yes, let me use this example. I hope you can see my example. So in the outside of a book, there are 3 places. This is the first page, the first outside page. It's called the cover page. Okay, this is called the cover page, and in the cover page, there are 3 key items. The 3 key items in a cover page, they are the title of the book, the author of the book, and illustrations or images. It's either you use illustrations or images of the book. As you can see, this one has the author's name, the title, and maybe a small tagline concerning the title and the illustration and a little bit. Okay, this one has something here, down here. I don't know if you can see. Normally, what they indicate there, it is the book designer. So you can decide to market yourself and put your name down there too, or the name of your production company there. Higher. The second page of the outside of a book is this small page, this one here. This place, it's called the spine. So the spine, it is what holds the bleed of a page. I'm going to show you what a bleed is from the inside, but from the outside, this explains a bleed. So aside from it explaining a bleed, there are three major components in the spine when you're designing a spine, because again, you have to design them. And those 3 components, again, they are the name of the title of the book, the name of the author, and the illustration or image for the book. As you can see, there is the title, the name of the author, and again the production company. And finally, we have the back page, or rather the back cover of the book. So this one usually they really differ in many books, but the main components that usually found here, it's usually about. So you see that you find about the author or about the book, okay? And then you're going to find that at the back cover, so you can see about the author, and then explanation, and then a barcode. The barcode is necessary, but it's not that very necessary, but it's good. Normally, you're going to find the picture of the author here. That is also applicable. But now I want to show you what the blade is, because today we are focusing on the inside of the book. Tomorrow, we might focus on the outside more. So the bleed right here, which is covered by the spine, it is that space which is holding all those combined pages together. Because even if you're working with a margin, I understand this might not make sense right now, but I'll try my best to help you understand. Even if you're working with a margin, that margin, it will still make your book not to look, it might still, what is this thing? It might still cut some words of your book if you do not have a bleed. So I'm going to create these documents, and then I will show you the how a bleed looks like. So a bleed, you can say, let's just have a good bleed of 0.45. 0.45 inches. That's okay. Yes, that's okay. Higher. So that's a bleed. A slug, on the other hand, it is a frame for a picture. When you're putting a slug, you're making sure that your picture haifai kupita hapa. Okay, like it's a frame. That picture which you have put in there, it's supposed to be there when it's being printed. It shows you where a picture can go far when it's being printed. That we're going to look at it another time, but right now we're not going to use it. So let it remain at 0. So make sure you have this in your InDesign file. You name it, and then 6 inches by 9 inches. We have the facing pages. We have a primary text frame, 4 pages, and it's beginning at 1. Let the columns be 2 with a column gutter or a column space of 0.25. Have margins, all of them 0.725, and a bleed of 0.45 inches. Once you're done with that, create. So as you can see, the interface, the user interface is kind of the same with Illustrator and Photoshop, only a few differences. Again, we have the file, the menu bar. The menu bar has something new. It's called the type. Okay. We have objects and many other things. And then we have the toolbar right here. These are the many tools that you're going to be using. So you just click adjust layouts. It will bring for you this one. You can fix many things from here. And then you can say okay. Edit page if you want. And then what else? You can introduce rulers and grids. These are called, by the way, these red things, they are called rulers, or rather guides. They show you what is happening here. So a small explanation of what is happening here. You see the red line here? This red line, let me select it. It cannot be selected. Okay. This red line is what we call the bleed. Okay, it's called the bleed. So you can see it's not a page, it's not making any part of the page, but bado iko. I will show you where this comes in. Fine, and then this white space between this line and outside here is what we call the margin. So the pictures or the text, they cannot come to here. Why? Because you have this. You see this pink thing? Have you seen that? This pink thing I've just selected. Let me increase the size. Unless you build your own text frame outside here, and I will show you how to build your own text frame, even if umesahau kutengeneza text frame yako ukitengeneza page. So as you can see, this text frame, there are 2 columns. Have you seen this? Kuna hii column na kuna hii column ingine. Have you seen that? So hii space iko hapa katikati ndio inaitwa the column gutter. It's the space between two columns. And that is it. That is what we have created. So you're going to click on the document setup and then it's supposed to bring you this once again. And again, you can see haijatuletea option ya columns because we want to remove the columns. We want to remove the columns. File, documents presets, adjust layouts. It's still bringing in the columns. So you're going to come here to edit page because we want to get rid of the columns. Come to edit page. Once you've created or selected edit page, come to margins and columns, and then it will bring you the margins and the columns. So you reduce the column to one, and then you say okay. And now the columns, they should be gone. You can see that it's ni kama bado kunayo. Hii inaitwa column gutter. Let us get rid of that column gutter because it's actually confusing us. Like 0. Okay. So we have managed to get rid of the columns. Now I want us to put let me share something before we put in the text. This is what I was meaning by facing pages. So these are the facing pages. They are pages which face each other. For instance, what we have here, this is a facing page. You can see this page and this page, they are facing each other. They are facing pages. We call them facing pages. So we come back to InDesign and let us also remove the columns of these pages. Margin and columns. Okay. And finally, a fourth page. So once you're done with that, let us add text. So right here, we are going to find the selection tool again and a direct selection tool. We're going to use them in the course of the program and then have a page tool. It allows you to select a page, an individual page. And then we have the type tool. So this is the type tool, the one with capital T right here. That is the type tool. So I want to show you how to create a text box. Assuming you never had this text box, okay? So whatever you see is just this cursor. How you create a text box is by clicking on it and then dragging it. Drag it throughout. That you have created a new text box. You can delete it by just saying backspace or the delete key. You are going to select it and then delete it. That's why I delete it. But now you already have a text frame. Okay. So what you do, as you can see now, my cursor, it is this tall pointy thing. So I'll just press inside my cursor, sorry, my text frame, and then it will bring me that blinking thing. So assume you have a document somewhere because we do not edit our books here. I'll give you an assignment, how you edit them, and then you come to layout design. So you do not edit your books here per se. Here is where you beautify your books. As a book publisher or as a book editor, you edit the books in WPS or Google Docs or Microsoft Word. You, when I say editing, I mean editing the grammar, editing the punctuation, and even editing the paragraphing, the styles that you're going to use in paragraphing. That work, you do it in another place. When you come to InDesign, your work in InDesign is now to beautify that manuscript to become like a real book. Okay? So assume you have an edited book and then you copy it, but because we do not have an edited book right now, we're going to put a dummy text. So InDesign has a dummy text. I'm going to right click and then I will say fill with placeholder text. Can you see it down here? Once you right click on that text frame, it says fill with placeholder text. It will give you a dummy text. Okay, it will give you a dummy document or just a dummy text which you can put it in there. So that's the dummy text. It's in here, as you can see. So I want us to edit this dummy text, make it look beautiful. Okay, I want us to make it look beautiful. So you can come here, you edit the same way, just as what you do with Word. It's possible to edit with InDesign, but itakusumbua sana. You see, because now you have to zoom it in and then you drag it and then you just do the editing work in another space like Word and then copy paste that work here. The only thing you're not going to do when you're editing your manuscripts, it is applying bold, applying a font, applying italics, and underlining places that you do not have to do in in editing. That is beautifying, that is stylizing your documents or your book, and that is done in InDesign. So assuming, let us just edit, not edit but stylize this first page of InDesign. Okay, so I will put paragraphs. Let me try another paragraphs. Another paragraph right here, and another paragraph. Where does it end? Here, another one here, and yeah, I think this will do. So I want to change the font of that is used in here. I will select everything, Control A, select everything, and then come here. So as you can see at the properties panel, we still have the properties of the texts. These are the properties of the texts. And it's telling us the text, they have a fill and it's black. So this is where you affect the color of your text. You can change the color to another color. But right now, let us just stick with fill. If you want your text to be stroked, you can add a stroke here and then the character or rather the font. So sai tunaona tumewekewa minion but sitaki minion. Let us use maybe another one. Okay, so we can just, if you do not know them, you can put them down here and then let us use I don't know, poppins. Let us use poppins. Let it be regular. And then the parts, we use 12 parts. Okay, we use 12 parts. That is the good size when you creating books. And then these are just how the line spacing, which is okay. The kerning or rather the letter spacing, it is okay. And the slanting, that's okay. The paragraph, they have started right at the right places. If you want them to be centered or in the other right alignments, let them be left alignments. And these are other ways. If you want them to start another place, I will show you where to apply this. And then we have bullets and numbering. We're going to use them later. As of now, at least we have affected the fonts. Let the size remain the same. It is good. So assume there are some parts of this entire paragraph you want to italicize them. Maybe someone says something. So you're going to highlight that specific parts and then italicize it. So how do you italicize it? You see your font itself. It usually have options of it coming in italicized form. Now listen carefully. There are two ways to italicize. One is permanent and one is not permanent. So the one which is permanent and the one which I advise people to use is the one which comes with the font itself. So where it is written Poppins, down here it says it's regular. Okay, so it's regular. So you can click down here and then it will show you other options. It can be thin, it can be super thin, it can be black italic, it can be bold, it can be medium, but now we want italic. So let us put italic, and that's how you have italicized it. Higher the other option to make it italicized, but it's temporary. Why do I say it's temporary? It's because you will only italicize it in here in InDesign. But when you transfer the book into a PDF or when you export the book into a PDF or an EPUB, that effect, that style, it will not show. It will not show. It will not stylicize. It will remain the same. So that's a method. It is the other italicizing way. It will not enable. It will not be permanent. It will not reflect in the exported file. And it's right here. You see these ones? This one is all caps. It makes everything to be all capital letters. This one is making everything to be small. This one is for adding superscripts and subscripts. This one is for underlining and this one is for strike through. Yes. So majorly, actually InDesign does not have that option. That option is majorly found in Photoshop. When you come across the option, you see down here, it shows you an option to italicize your text from somewhere here, and it's not here. Know that it's temporary. It will not work. It will not work in your exported file. So that's how you italicize and that's how you bold it. Assume I want to, let me create this a new paragraph. Let me put it at the center. I will come here again at paragraph and then put it like that. Yes, just like that. What else? What else? Let me try something else. Yes. Have you seen what has happened? The way many books, they usually come with a huge first letter at the beginning of a paragraph. How you add that is you come down here where it's written paragraph and then this last thing just before shading you say add at least two. When you say two, it means this first letter occupies 2 lines. You say 3, it occupies 3 lines. 4, it occupies 4 lines. And that it is 5, it occupies 5 lines. So it's really a matter of your taste. But again, a good designer, when you overuse effects, unakanga amateur, unakanga kienyeji. One of my friends anaitanga kienyu, taka kienyu. So don't overuse some of these effects. Yeah. Yes, and that's how you edit, you stylize your book and what you have right here. As you can see, remember we had only 4 pages, right? Have you seen that it has allowed you to add, it has just added more pages for itself. InDesign is like that. It will automatically add more pages to account for your entire document. So that's where we're going to reach for today. This is a very simple, small part. I want you, before tomorrow's lesson, try and create a document preset, add a placeholder text. If you cannot add a placeholder text, go to Google or one of your documents and then put them in here and then try and bold some parts, try and stylize some parts, and also try and create this B feature we have created here. Yeah, create that feature and notice, observe new things like the way it is just automatically added for you. Today we're going to add something else. In these things, we're going to add the headers, the footers, and the page numbers. They're actually very, very simple. So once you have your document set up like this, and then it's okay, Martin. And then we want to add the headers and the footers. The first choice is this. Remember, you go to your text tool. This is your text tool. And then you can add a text frame. So a header is usually up here. It explains what's happening in a book. So assume you're writing a book about computer science. No, let us try something else. Biology. Biology under the subtopic of the skin. So I want my header to have the term biology up here. So I can draw like this. Let me zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing. Yes, I have drawn a text box right here. And then maybe I can italicize it. Regular. Okay, let us use poppins. Poppins, italic. Let me reduce size a bit. And then I write biology. Biology. That's there. It's a header. And then you can add a footer. A footer, we can come down here. Again, we write a subtopic. Let us use poppins again. Poppins, italic. Let me reduce 10 parts, and then we can write the skin. The skin. And then let us add the page number. So maybe we can put the page number at the other side of the footer space right here. And then again, make it popping, bold, and then reduce the size a bit. And then I say page 1. Page 1. Page 1. Now I want you to notice something. These footers, you have added them for the first page, only the header and the footer and the page numbers. And our dummy example has how many pages? 6 pages. It is indicated down here. It has 6 pages. Now you can imagine if you have a manuscript that has 1,000 pages, you're not going to go each page, adding a header, adding a footer, adding a page number. It's going to be very exhausting. So InDesign has a trick to that. So I'm just going to delete this. I will delete these headers and footers and create the better way. That I can. Is that something else? Okay, so the way to do it, so that you do not exhaust yourself going every page, adding a page number, adding a header and a footer, just besides the property panel, you're going to see the pages panel and then the CC libraries, but we want to use the pages panel. So when you click on the pages panel, you're going to find one of them is called none and the other one is called an A parent. So what we have here on our canvas is called the master pages or the master pages, and they are where your documents they come in. It's where your manuscript is. And then the A parent, it is like a copy of the pages where what you can do in one page, it will replicate itself in other pages. This is what I mean. So you're going to double click on A parents, and then it's going to bring you a combination of two empty pages. Now you can edit your pages from here. Let me reduce the size a bit. Yes. Now you can see your manuscript is gone, but it's still there. Here, what you're going to do here, it is going to replicate itself in all the pages. So if you want to put a header, I will go back to my text tool, and then I put a header up here. And then I say, let me put it to Poppins italic. Let me reduce to 10 parts, and then I say biology, because we are assuming this is a biology book. And then we also need a header on the other side of the facing page. So we have to, the best way, instead of drawing again, you can duplicate. So how do you duplicate? When you want to duplicate an already made text, you're going to click on it and then click Alt. Now, have you seen what this is? It was black. And then when I click Alt, it becomes white and it's become to the plus. That means we can duplicate it. So I'm going to drag it right here. And then the green lines, I hope you can see the green lines. They help me balance, or they help me put it in a good way. Okay, so that it is in one line. So I'm going to release. Now I have replicated biology. Now there is something off with this second biology. I want it to be here, right here at the right. So I'll go back to my text and then click on it, and then come here to paragraph and say align right. And then it's going to bring it to the right. Now it's much better. It is much better. And then we're going to add another footer. In the footer, the first one was saying about the skin. So I'll come down here to the skin, and then I write again. I want to use Poppins italic. Let me reduce a bit. The reason why we're reducing the font is so that you do not confuse what is written in the manuscripts and what is written in the header and the footer. Many books you're going to find, they have the same font as the header and the footer, and maybe the header is a very long header. You might think it is part of the document or part of the manuscripts, and then it's going to confuse the reader, and that is bad. That is not supposed to be done. In other cases, why we're using it to be smaller than larger is because, again, the header can become, if it's bigger than the manuscript, it can look like the title, and yet it is not the title. Hence, it is confusing the reader again. So it's good to use a font which is a little less size when you're writing your headers, your footers, and your page numbers than the size which is written in the manuscript. So I've used 10 parts. I will say the skin, and then again, before I duplicate it, I just want to make let me just duplicate it, and then now we can add the pages. Click out, and then drag it. Let the green lines guide me, just like that, and it's good. And then I put it to the alignment which is right. I take it to the right. Yeah, now we are done with the headers, footers. Let us add the page numbers. So you come back to the text tool. Right here, let us put it at this other side. Many people, they love putting their pages up, centered up, or centered down, or left, or the far right. It is okay where you put it, and you should try out those different methods so that you can see which fits best. So I'm going to put mine on the left and on the right inside the book. So I'm going to just write it like that. And then I'm going to use Poppins once again. Poppins. This time I will use bold because I want it to be bold. I will reduce the size to 10 parts. Now, here you do not say one. You do not put one. You do not put 1, 2, 3 or ABC. No, 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 no. You will come up here. It says type at the menu bar. You will find type, select type, and then you say down here, insert special character. And then it's going to bring you other choices. You're going to say insert markers. Once you have said markers, it's going to bring you more choices, and then you say current page number. And there you go. Now we also want it to be on the other side. So I'll put it, yeah, that is good. I will repeat it so that you can see what I've done once again. And I will, instead of duplicating it, because you can just duplicate this one, but I want to start it over again. So I will draw another text box right here below. Yeah, that is good. And then I want to add the page number. So I'll go to type, insert special character, markers, current page number. It's going to say A. It's okay. That is very okay. So once you're done editing in your A parent page, you come back to pages, and then you click on one of these A parents applied. You click on the master pages here on the pages panel. And there you go. Now you see let me zoom in so that you can see. The header has come, biology. And the footers, we have page 1, the skin, as well as all the other pages, biology. And then this one is the skin, page 3. You go again, the skin, page 2. So it will number itself. That is a good thing also about InDesign. It will number itself and it will be good for you. So that's how you add headers and footers and page numbers to your documents. Are we together up to there before we proceed to the next thing? You can just raise your hand or chat in the chat box if you've understood or if you have a question. Martin is okay. Susan is okay. Sam is okay. That's good. That's good. So the next thing I want to show you, it is how to create an entire book. Now, this might be contradictory to what I've just said. Right now, we think that we're creating a book and it's okay. But then, again, you might find an author. The author has a book with 20 chapters. Okay, this particular book has 20 chapters. You scrolling down in InDesign, 20 chapters with 1,000 pages is just going to tire you. It's going to tire you. It can even confuse you. It's okay, you can do it, but there is an easier way to go about it. So how you'll go about it is you're going to pick your first chapter of the manuscript, the only first chapter, and then you put it right here. Okay, you will put it here. Now assume this is the first chapter, you're done editing it, you're done making it, and that is okay. And then you go to file, and then you save as, we can say, book chapter 1. Book chapter 1, and then we save it. Higher, let us create another file. Open, no, not open. So let us create a new file, new documents, and then we say book chapter 2. Chapter 2. That is okay. That is okay. And then create. So again, I'm going to fill it with dummy text. So fill with placeholder text. That is okay. And then maybe even change the font to Poppins. Poppins. And then after I change it to Poppins, I want to add page numbers, only page numbers. We can do the headers and the footers later. So I'll go back to page, double click on the A parents, and then it's going to bring me this. Using the text tool, I come here and then I draw a text box. Properties, I want it to be Poppins again. Let it be italic and then a little bit size. No, let it be bold. And then I go to type, insert special character, markers, current page number. And then let me put it, yeah, there. So instead of creating a new one, I will just duplicate this one. I'll go to the select tool and then duplicate it, bring it right there. Make sure it is leveled with that first one. And yes, we have one. So I'll go back on my master page. And now you see the page 1, 2, 3, they are all there. And then I will save file, save as book chapter 2, save. So now I have chapter 1 of my book, chapter 2 of my book. I assume you have other chapters, okay? Now we want to combine all of this into one book. So how will I do it? I will go to file, new. So instead of saying a new document, you're going to say a new book. Okay, a new book. So I'm going to select new book. How will I name it? We can just name it book 1, example. And then, oh, it's a biology book. Yes, biology book. And then say save. Now it's going to bring you this particular box right here. So in this box, you're supposed to fill your chapters, and then InDesign itself, it will compile those chapters into one book. What you're going to do is this plus thing right here. It says add documents. So you're going to press it, and then you say chapter 1, chapter 2. You're going to select both of them, and then say open. Now, when you're creating them, always make sure that chapter 1 is the first one, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, so that you do not mix them up. And then as you save the book, make sure you do not select something like that. You see the way it's blue on chapter 1? It means you have only selected chapter 1, and when you save the book, it will only save chapter 1. So release that blue and let them all look like that and select it. So you're going to come up here at the 3 lines and then say export book to PDF. You can also export book to EPUB, whichever you want, but right now let us work with PDF. And then say save, export. Now it's generating the PDF and it is generated. So let us open the PDF and see how it looks like. Yes. So here's your first book with a header, biology, and a footer. Let us scroll down. page 3, page 4, page 5. Now you remember tulikuwa tumefika page 6. I want you to see something. It continues to page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10. Even if you added new pages and the next chapter began with chapter 1, chapter 2, when InDesign is compiling your documents into one book, it will automatically refresh and automatically align the pages zifuatane. So now you have 12 pages and you have your first book with headers and footers, although hatujaweka headers na footer to the next chapter. So that is how you create a book. It is very simple, very, very simple. And I would like you to go and try it out. You go and try it out. Refer to this video. It will be posted very soon. And that is it. I had planned to teach you guys this thing alone. I understand some of us hatuna stima kwetu, hatuna wifi pia. So I will leave you to this work and then you go practice it, just practice it. And then now from the next week, we're going to look much more in InDesign, creating brand guidelines and many more, and portfolios, even in InDesign. And I hope to see you there. If you have any questions, please, you can ask. Ama haukuelewa mahali, you can ask. Hagai, your hand is still up. If you have a question, you can ask. Yes, someone else has raised a hand. Yes, Sam.
So my question is, how did you say that we remove the center margins? How did you give the explanation? I missed it. The margin at the center. There's a way that you remove the margins.
Oh, I believe you mean the columns, the way it appears in two ways. That is what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Well, the first way we tried is to adjust the layouts. You go to your property panel, adjust layouts. And then we found out that it's actually very hard for it to remove the columns. And the second option that I suggested is to create I don't know if I suggested it, but it's to create another whole file. If you find that some things that you're editing na ni kama haziwezi kuwa reversible, you can just copy paste what you've done and then create a new file. And when you're creating your new file, make sure haina columns, haina those columns. So you're going to say 0 you're going to say 1 column and then duplicate and say you copy the formatting with which you copied with, like you paste with the formatting. Because we try to edit the page, let me select this page. This is page 7. It says margins and columns. 1 kata yes. So kama unaona yangu imekataa kutoa because nimeweka 1 na nimetoa gata but bado inakataa kutoa. So the other main way is to duplicate your work to another new file which does not have column. The difference with InDesign is that si kama other you see the way we used to say in Photoshop and Canva. In Canva you can easily reverse something in ushafanya. You can easily resize, you can easily do things. But in Photoshop, it's like now you're doing manually, you're doing everything manually. So ikikataa hapa kabisa, you just have to copy paste to a new file without columns. Yes. Another question? Oh, Faith is still asking for the video for Illustrator. Yes, about that, there is a way we had a little bit of inconvenience in uploading, like downloading the video itself. So we're still working on it. Once we're done with it, of course, we're going to tell you about it. Yes. Anybody else with another question? Okay, if there's no more question, I think I will take it back to Rachel and she can handle the rest. Thank you everybody for listening. Have an amazing night. Oh, Sam says to repeat the process of creating a dummy text. Okay, let me create a new file. So you're going to go to your text tool, the capital T here at the at the toolbar, and then click inside your text frame, right click inside your text frame, and then in this list you're going to find fill with placeholder text. So click on it. It will automatically give you a dummy text. Yes. Yeah. All right. Back to you, Rachel. Have an amazing night, everybody.